that goes along with the subject of discussion today. Though it's a little late, and most of you are already awake, but we'll try to sing. Jeev jago, jeev jago, Gaura Chandra Bole. Jeev jago, jeev jago, Gaura Chandra Bole. Jeev jago, Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 13, Text 19.
One second.
Please repeat after me. Atha kathanchit sa vimukta apada.
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 Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Advani amsumin ajaya niveshtito.
Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito.
Advani amsumin ajaya niveshtito.
Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito.
Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschan.
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 Kathanchit savimukta pada.
Atha kathanchit sa vimukta apada.
Punascha sartam pravishatyarindam.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama. Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito. Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschana. Atha kathanchit sa vimukta apada.
Punascha sartam pravishatyarindam.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Advani amusmin ajaya niveshito.
Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito.
Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschana.
Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschana.
Kathanchit vimukta apada.
Atha kathanchit sa vimukta apada.
Punascha sartam pravishyati arindama.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Advani amusmin ajaya niveshito.
Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito.
Brahman janodyapi na veda kakshana.
Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschana.
Atha kathanchit savimukta apada.
Atha kathanchit sa vimukta apada.
Punascha sartam pravishatyarindam.
Punascha sartham pravishyati arindama.
Advani amusmin ajaya niveshito.
Advani amusmin ajaya nivesito. Brahman janodyapi na veda kaschana.
Word to word translation. Ata
Ada from this
kathanchit
Somehow,
sa vimuktaha
liberated
apada
from the danger.
punacha
Again,
sa artham
taking interest with that life
pravishyati
begins.
arindama
Okay, killer of enemies
advani
on the path of enjoyment.
amusmin
That,
ajaya
by the difference of usual energy,
niveshtita
being absorbed,
brahman
traveling,
jana
the conditioned souls,
adhyapi
even up to death,
na veda
does not understand
kaschan.
anything.
Translation.
O
O killer of enemies, Maharaj Sarugam,
if the conditioned soul somehow gets out of the status position, he again returns to his home to enjoy sex life. But that is the way of attachment.
He continues loitering in the forest of material existence. He does not discover his real interest even at the point of death.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 O my Lord,
the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam udiraye. Before reciting the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Godhead, Narayanam, unto Narayana Rishi, the supermost human being, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasdevi, the author. Nashtaprayeshu Aprechu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhakti Naishiki. By regular actions and classes on the Bhagavatam and by regular service to the pure devotee, all vegetables of the heart is almost completely destroyed, and loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana-Timirandasya Jnana-Jnana-Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So that we can turn the screen off. So welcome to this morning's Bhagavatam class. It's a Sunday morning. Everyone is doing good. So the subject matter, I was pleased, very pleased when I was offered to speak on one verse. But then I got to know that I have to cover the entire chapter. Yes, so it's another pleasure, but so I'll read the purport for this verse at least, so we hear Srila Prabhupada speak. This is the way of material life. When one is captured by sexual attraction, he becomes implicated in so many ways and cannot understand the real aim of the life. Therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam says, Nate vidum swata gatim hi Vishnu. Generally, people do not understand the ultimate goal of life. As stated in the Vedas, Om Tad Vishnu Parampada Sada Pashyanti Suryaha. Those who are spiritually advanced simply look to the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. The conditioned soul, however, not being interested in reviving his relationship with Vishnu, becomes captivated by the material activities and remains in the everlasting bondage, being misled by the so-called leaders. So Prabhupada ki jai. So this chapter, I hope everyone is familiar with the instance or the episode of Jada Bharat that we are discussing now, right? Everyone knows
Yes.
what happened with Jada Bharat? Yes?
Yes.
You know? Okay. So, in this chapter, Jada Bharat, who is the Avadut, who has realized his self, is trying to, not trying, but he is not going to communicate some important instructions to King Rahugana. So you all know Rahugana was on the falling twin, Jada Bharat was carrying him and they were shaking around, and then all the conversations happened between them. So this chapter starts, the name of the chapter I would say, the Rahugana converses with Jada Bharat. I would like to read a couple of verses, so you know, it's a beautiful analogy that Shukadeva Goswami narrates to Parikshit Maharaj. That is a conversation between King Rahugana and Jadabharat. So this is text 2. O King Rahugana, in the forest of material existence, there are 6 very powerful plunderers. When the conditioned soul enters the forest to acquire some material gain, the 6 plunderers misguide him. Thus, the conditioned merchant does not know how to spend his money, and it is taken away by these plunderers. Like tigers, jackals, and other ferocious animals in the forest that are ready to take away a lamb from the custody of its protector, the wife and the children enter the heart of the merchant and plunder him in so many ways. So, Jadabharata is setting up a scene for Maharaj Rahugana, so he knows what is his position, pretty much what he is doing in his life. So he's comparing a position of a materialistic person to a merchant who's going to a forest to do some business, to sell some of his products or goods. But, as you read, there are 6 plunderers in the forest. Who are those 6 plunderers?
5 senses and mind.
Are 6, pretty much 6 senses. And then there are ferocious animals like tigers, jackals, and so on. Srila Prabhupada in the purport, he says that the jackals, most of you are not married, so you don't know. The kids are compared to jackals who cry at night. Jackals make sound and kids cry at night. This is the analogy of comparing the jackal to the kids. And the wife is compared to tiger. Not just wife, if you are a woman, the man, if you're a man,
By husband.
right? The analogy is kept simple so we can understand. Why wife? Because the tigers like to suck milk. They suck milk or they lick milk of their prey. So similarly, the wife sucks the bodily energy of the husband when the husband is working all day long to make some money, right? So Prabhupada says, the wife says, I am your dear wife, please give me this. This is what we need now, right? This is a common thing. And at the night, again, he has to struggle hard to sleep and to enjoy his senses. So similarly, so he's trying, the conditioned soul is, as a god, the forest is pretty much this body, the forest of material existence, and he's trying to live through it, but you have 6 plunderers, on top of it you have tigers and jackals who are attacking you. The next verse reads, in the forest there are dense bowers composed of thickets of bushes, grass and creepers. In these bowers, the conditioned soul is always disturbed by cruelly biting mosquitoes. Prabhupada says, envious people. Sometimes he sees an imaginary place in the forest. Sometimes he is bewildered by seeing a fleeting friend or a ghost which appears like the meteor in the sky. A beautiful analogy. So there are some envious people who are compared here with mosquitoes. So when he is trying to walk through the forest, those envious people come in fight you. Right? Or, let's read the next verse. My dear king, the merchant on the forest path of material world, in his intelligence, victimized by home, wealth, relatives, and so forth, runs from one place to another in search of success. Something we can relate to. Sometimes his eyes are covered with the dust of whirlwind. That is to say, in his lust, he is captivated by the beauty of his wife, especially during her menstrual period. Thus his eyes are blinded, and he cannot see where to go or what he is doing. Right? If there's a lot of dust in the air and you go out, your eyelids, pretty much everything in your eyes will be covered with dust. And at a certain point, you will not be able to see who's standing in front of you, who you are, what the other person is trying to do. So similarly, an individual or materialistic, when his eyes or intelligence is covered by lusty desires, he or she cannot see anything. Yes? The next verse. Wandering in the forest of the material world, the conditioned soul sometimes hears invisible cricket making harsh sounds. His ears become very much aggrieved. Sometimes his heart is pained by the sounds of owls, which are just like the harsh words of his enemies. Sometimes he takes shelter of a tree that has no fruit or flower. He approaches a tree due to strong appetite, and thus he suffers. He would like to acquire water, but he is simply illusioned by mirage, and he runs after it. This is a perfect example of our condition. So, the verse says that the man is trying to hug or approach a tree that has no fruit or flowers. That refers to the sense objects which we are trying to enjoy. Let's say if your tongue is strong, you want to speak or you want to taste something. Right? Similarly, if your nose is strong, you want to smell good things. But how long would that last? Right? So that is compared to a barren tree with no fruits or flowers. And then we run for the water. Yes, we run for the happiness. But when we try to chase that happiness, it moves to somewhere farther. Again, you try to chase that happiness. And again, it runs farther from you. Sometimes the conditioned soul jumps into the shallow river, or being short of the food grains, he goes to beg food from people who are not at all charitable. Sometimes he suffers the burning of heat of household life, which is like a forest fire. And sometimes he becomes sad to have his wealth, which is very dear as life, plundered by the kings in the name of heavy income taxes. So the material life is compared to a forest fire. We are approaching summer very soon, so you will likely hear lots of forest fires, right? Happening in Canada. I was thinking this is the best place to realize the forest fire. Yes? I mean, the part of India I come from, there are still fires, but forest fires are not so common. But here, I was hearing this. There are 17 forest fires already going in British Columbia and Alberta. So, the forest fire is also compared to the household life. Yes? How do we start our day in the morning? What do the Hare Krishna say first thing in the morning? Samsara Davana. There's a blazing forest. That's the first word. These these are the first words that we recite when we get up early in the morning, when everyone is sleeping, 4:30 a.m. in the morning, and we happily sing, there's a blazing fire. But the spiritual master is like a cloud who's powering the water or the nectar on the hearts. So, and again, there's the analogy of taxes, which is, you all know, I don't need to tell how sad do you feel when your taxes are taken away by the government from your income, and you get nuts at the end. You work whole day and whole night long. And another thing that this verse says is the attachment to the wealth. So it's very obvious you try everything to make money, right? Waking up 5 a.m. in the morning, riding a TTC, traveling 2 hours, working 8 to 5, then coming back home 7 a.m. all week long. You are tired, get some money, and you are attached with it. Yes, this happens. This is very common, and you do not want to give that wealth. But Krishna says, Mrityu sarva harascha. At the end of your so-called period in the forest, when the day is over, you leave everything and move ahead. So Prabhupada gives a very nice analogy in the purport. He says that there are many people who make castles, huge castles. You might have seen one. They try to live a comfortable life in those castles, probably for few decades, few years, and when they die, they are buried. Right? So that happiness, the pursuit of that happiness is not eternal. And so Prabhupada says that we should try to, let me read it, that would be a good thing. People are trying to become happy within the material world, but this is like trying to be happy in a forest fire. No one needs to go to forest to set it ablaze. Fire takes place automatically. Similarly, no one wants to be unhappy in the family life or worldly life, but by the laws of nature, unhappiness, distress are forced upon everyone. Yes. This is the problem. We thinking that we will receive some happiness, some joy, a moment of peace, words of solace, sweet words, good food, some affection, we enter family life. But because the truth is totally opposite. When you enter the family life, these things are non-existent. I mean, as a Krishna conscious Grihastha, the situation is a little different because your life is centered around Krishna, so you still receive a lot of happiness in doing all the Krishna conscious activities. But talking about the material grahamedis, it is very difficult to achieve any happiness. Yeah, momentary pleasures are there. Sometimes you see your beautiful wife, you see your beautiful husband. Yeah, this is love of my life. I can do everything for you. But when that person, I remember reading a text, when that person speaks some harsh words to you, you're heartbroken. Yes. The same thoughts, aspirations you had in your mind, they are shattered. That is the material life. It's compared to, Srila Prabhupada also speaks, it's compared to walking on a, I don't have the word. It's like, probably will come in next verse. The verse says that the person is trying to climb a mountain which is full of thorns and sharp stones. So when they are trying to climb, your feet and your body is pricked, you're bleeding everywhere. And this is the material life or material condition household life. You try to enter it thinking it's an easy, smooth journey, but at every moment you will be pricked by thorns.
I have a quick question for you. If that's the reality of this life, when one gets into the grihastha or grihmedi life, I'm not saying the same, but that's the point, then why is there so much focus on getting into that life?
It's because, Srila Prabhupada also says, it's because the desire we have to enjoy separately from Krishna, and that strong desire is something we keep trying to look after. So same desires, it transforms into multifold of different desires. And the verse that we were reading, 19, it says the sex life is the center or the main bondage of material existence. And of course, sex life is the primary reason you enter into grihastha life. Yes? Obvious? That's very, very obvious thing. And this verse, when we were reading that a man patiently waits for a woman's menstrual period to get over, this is Srimad Bhagavatam speaking. So when the people were cultured, Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport, when people were cultured in the Vedic times, they would have sex once in a month. So to do that, they would wait for the menstrual period to get over and enjoy the sex. So this is compared to the dust on your eyes or lust on your eyes. You keep waiting for that day. And when the date comes, the happiness is gone like this, right? That's our position. That's the reason anyone enters into marriage life and tries to exploit.
It could be an ingredient of that recipe, but it would not be the whole recipe of marriage.
Yes, but it is the core principle. Very unfortunate, but it's the core principle of the marriage life.
I'm sorry, but Krishna also himself is saying in 7-11 that he is the sex life for those who are. So, I mean,
He is a sex life which follows the Vedic, right? So the Vedic instructions are, you have sex life or you maintain a sex life just to propagate, to bring Krishna conscious kids or souls on this planet. Now, because now if you keep doing it, if you keep begetting children, you will realize that they are jackals. Not Krishna conscious kids, but in general.
Someone has a value internal potency. How do we know? How external potency will do?
Sorry?
External potency will do that.
Yes.
Internal potency doesn't.
To do what? I mean,
We get children.
yes, sex is a material thing. You don't need anything internal. It's what's on bodily platform. It has nothing to do with internal mood or whatever. It's a need of your senses. If you are able to control, you are called Goswami. If you are not able to control, you are called Godas. So we become the servants of our senses. And So, I'm coming to his question. So if you want to have kids or if you want to have sex life with your partner, you have to please him or her, right? Without pleasing or decorating your life, it's not possible. Now to do that, you have to work hard. When you work hard, remember there is an example of Pavarga, right? Pavarga. Do you remember? Anyone remembers? Pavarga. No? So, in the Sanskrit alphabet, like you have the A, B, C, D. So, one line is A, B, C, D, right? Four letters. So, similarly in Sanskrit, there are vargas. So, Pavarga is Pa, Pa, Ba, Ba, Ba. 5 letters in that line. So those 5 symptoms, pain, is a foam coming. When you see a donkey working hard, you'll see a foam, or a bull who's working too hard, you'll see foam coming. That is our life. Unfortunately, we are the same person. We work very hard in our life to attain or to achieve so-called sensory pleasures. It is unfortunate, but it can be transformed. Transformation can happen. So Prabhupada writes is one of the purports in this chapter that we are creating temples like Krishna Balaram Mandir in Vrindavan, where people would come and spend time and learn the process of Krishna consciousness. So this is non-different from Vrindavan. This temple has been officially designed to help us propagate our Krishna consciousness, to maintain the highest standards of our spiritual journey. So moving ahead,
Prabhu, my question was a little different than what you answered. Can I rephrase?
yes,
Why does Prabhupada say that it's very important for one to get married? That was my question. Why
did Prabhupada say?
that it's very important for one to get married? Does he say that? Some people have
No.
told me. No?
No.
What does he
Never.
say? What's his take on it?
So, Srila Prabhupada, all the acharyas, and Bhagavatam itself, you were hearing, now you will hear, I believe, from 6th canto. The Narad Muni, he will instruct Prachetas, 80,000 of them, right? 80,000 of Prachetas, he will instruct not one batch, 2 batches of the sons of King Prachinavarsa. You will ask them to become brahmachari. So they were begotten to populate this world. Initially, the entire world was only few persons. Daksha. They were the son of Dakshas. So they were asked to go in the forest, do tapasya, and eventually increase the humankind. So when they went in the forest, fortunately they met a brahmachari, Narad Muni, and Narad Muni instructed them, and they become brahmachari. They never married. It happened again. Daksha begot 80,000 more kids, and they went to the forest to perform some tapasya. And again Narad Muni met them. And when Narad Muni met them, he asked them, don't enter the material life. It's not good. So again they become brahmachari. And Daksha got very upset, and he cursed Narad Muni, saying that since you have done this to me, you will not be able to sit or stand on one place for a long time. So ever since then, he travels. So all the scriptures say, if you cannot control, Prabhupada also says that it is very bad to chase women or chase men, vice versa. Going to brothels, prostitution, or something that is not prescribed in the scriptures. So such things are bad. If you cannot control the urges of your body, let's say if you cannot fast the whole day, we ask you, okay, drink water. If you are still hungry, we ask you, okay, you take fruits. If you still cannot do, then take some potatoes or whatever Ekadashi thing. right? So similarly, this is the life. If you cannot control your senses, if you can, yes, say brahmachari all the time. If you cannot, get married and follow the injunctions of the scriptures that you cannot have unrestricted sex life. And once you get married, there are restrictions. What kind of restrictions? The general restriction or general principles are you have sex for the propagation of Krishna consciousness. Detailed guidelines vary to person, and vary to how serious or sincere we are. Right?
So it's the same thing for men and women both, right? That if you don't
No.
have, that's the difference.
Yes. So it is different because two things. One is the nature of women. Women are soft. They generally, right? Generally they are soft, mellow. They like to dress nicely. They like to present. They like to behave nicely, right? So, and it's difficult for them to be in such position and live independent. That's why it is recommended for women to be under protection of someone.
Either
Father or
Brother?
husband.
No brother?
If father is not there, then it will be the
Yeah.
Husband.
brother's responsibility.
So, in short, see, sometimes we try to change things, especially in this culture we are living in. We try to be equal, liberated, independent. Every day we hear these words. I'm independent. I don't need anyone. No one is independent. Just turn off the light, you cannot see, you are dependent on electricity, you are dependent on the sun. For air, you are dependent on Vayu. For water, you are dependent on Indra. We are dependent. Similarly, on that nature of women, they should be protected. That is the injunctions we have. Now, Vedic injunctions don't change according to time, place, and circumstances. So, if a man, on the other hand, they are strong, they have willpower. Not that women don't have, but they have a stronger willpower. And with that willpower, they can control the urges of their senses. That's what we have seen from all the examples throughout the history, right? Even Jarabharat, when he was King Bharat, he gave up everything and he went to forest, right? But you don't hear his wife went to forest. You don't hear that, right? Yes. In the Vanprastha stage of life, the woman accompanies men till they practice some devotional service. But eventually, it needs to be separated. And then the woman goes back to the shelter of son or whoever is there in the family. Answer your question?
So tough.
It's like Mira Vaisa wasn't under protection of anyone.
Who?
Mira. Shabli.
Shabri was under protection of. Shabri was elderly, right? She was, of course, when she was young, she was protected by her spiritual masters, Vishal and father. So these few examples you cannot take and apply to journal masses, right? Not everyone is designed or capable of becoming Shabri or Mira. You cannot. You can take inspiration, you can take lessons from their life and try to live the quality. In Vaishnava tradition, we have many Vaishnavis. Janava Mata, right? Ganga Mata Goswami. So we have many Vaishnavis also. It's not that. So your Krishna consciousness is not limited by the ashram you are in. That is the thing. We don't want to be entangled again, in the flowery language of Vedas. The Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, those four Vedas are complex. Rise above, right? What is rising above? Rising above in Krishna consciousness, becoming a soul. We are not body. If we are still on that platform, I'm a woman, I want to do this, then we are forgetting the ABC of our life. We are this body. By our karmas, we were given this body. Accepting what was given to us as parents, body, the land, everything that was given to us is due to our karmas. Pious, impious, whatever it may be. But it was given to us. So it's a bad bargain, but what's the best use we can do of this bad bargain, right? Become Krishna conscious. Try to elevate ourselves in the same body and go back to home, back to God, right?
This protection is control with the restriction on them, or
That's detailed. We will not. Protection could be a lot of things: physical protection, mental protection, emotional protection, financial protection. Detail. A lot of details to it. Any more questions, or should I continue? No, I have still 5 minutes. So, in the concluding words, Maharaj Rahuguna says, "It is not at all wonderfully that simply by being covered by the dust of your lotus feet, one immediately attains the platform of your devotional service to Adokshaja, which is not available even to great demigods like Brahma. By associating with you just for a moment, I am now freed from all arguments, false prestige, and lack of discrimination, which are the roots of entanglement in the material world. Now I am free from all these problems." So after hearing the analogy of the forest life, the path of forest, the plunderers, the jackals, the taunts, and the entire story, Maharaj Rahuguna understood that he is entangled in material life, and the way to get out of it is serving the devotee and Jarabharat. And he confirms that that happens. "I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personalities, whether they walk on earth's surface as children, young boys, avadutas, or great brahmanas. Even if they are hidden under the different guises, I offer my respect to all of them. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties that are offending them." So initially, Maharaj Rahuguna offended Jarabharat, right? By saying some harsh words or rebuking, chastising him. But it's also important to note that Jarabharat, being a Vaishnava or a self-realized person, did not take offense. It's quality of a Vaishnava to never take offense. Shanta. They are always Shanta. Right? Whenever someone says, or few things don't sound sweet to us, but whenever someone says some harsh words or rebuking words or chastises you, don't take them to your heart. Take them as a lesson, as a teaching, not on a personal level. Venkatesh Prabhu said this to me, I will never talk to him in my life. Vaishnavas, similar, both. King Rahuguna was also on a platform now where he could understand the glories of Jarabharat. And Jarabharat, of course, being liberated, he did not take any offense. So the lessons for us is that we take shelter first of pure devotees of God and never take offense. If that happens in our life, I'll read the last text, then we will conclude. After receiving the lessons from the great devotee Jarabharat, King Rahugana of the state of Swarvira became completely aware of the constitutional position of soul. He thus gave up bodily conception completely. My dear king, whoever takes the shelter of the servant of the Lord is certainly glorified, because he can, without difficulty, give up the bodily conception. So Srila Prabhupada quotes a very famous verse, Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Shastra Koy, Lava Matra Sadhu Sangha, Sarva Siddhi Koy. Sadhus could be on different platforms. As we are practicing our devotional life, we could be on a different platform. Kanistha, Madhyama, Uttama, mix of 2 platforms, mix of 3 platforms. We don't know. But the Sadhu Sangha, when we say Sadhu Sangha, we doesn't mean that Jagadharma Prabhu and Venkatesh Prabhu, they sit together and play games. Yes, I'm associating with devotee. They're both playing games on phone. Sadhu Sangha means, the Sangha has to be Saragrahi. Shubha Prabhu used to say, Sangha means Saragrahi. When you associate with a devotee, the essence should come out of that Sangha. Right? So, if I associate with, let's say, this Prabhu, we have a conversation. At the end of the conversation, there should be a conclusion coming of my association with him. Similarly, whenever you are associating with sadhus, the principle of association is devotional service, and at the end, you should derive a conclusion of that sangha. Then it's beneficial. Otherwise, sitting in the Srimad Bhagavatam class and, half asleep, trying to keep our eyes open, but internally we are sleeping with eyes open. Our brain is dead. That is not sadhu sangha. Sadhu sangha means saragari. You receive a conclusion from the sangha about how to improve your life. That is sadhu sangha. With that sadhu sangha, our life would be glorious. Any more questions?
In one of the classes, this part was missed. King was very angry on Jadbharat. What did Jadbharat say that changed his mind? That portion was missing.
Yes, so Jadbharat would start with the ABC. You are not this party, I am not this party. We all are traveling with our so-called destinies, karmas. And you think you are the king, but you are not the king, but you are just a mere spiritual soul which is covered by the body. But you are put in a position of a king, which you have to do some duties, you have to perform something. But that doesn't mean, not directly he says that, but it means that he is not entitled to rebuke each and everyone, whoever he sees, right? So after hearing the position of Jadabharat, the verse from Jadabharat, that transformed the heart of King Rahugana, because he could understand that this person is a Paramahansa who is not on the bodily platform. And he also narrates that how he was a king before. He also says that he was a king before, but now he's, he became a deer, and now he's Bharat, Jara. Then, so he realizes that this person is a self-realized person. I need to respect him. You can read it.
How can we differentiate pleasure and happiness?
Pleasure and happiness, pretty same, sound identical to me. Pleasure.
Is that bodily pleasure is happiness?
Which is short-lived, maybe.
Yeah, pleasure could be has some timeline to it. Happiness is a state. Pleasure is a it's something that you can have. Both same.
Did Jadbharat understood the conditions for living after death?
because of that, being born with that intelligence, he was jada. He was indifferent to anything. He wouldn't dress properly, he wouldn't eat, he wouldn't clean himself properly. That was because he understood that he is not his body.
But the body is given to him since he wasn't able to get liberated in animal's body. That's why the human body was given to him. He must have respected the body.
He must have.
Respected the body if he not dies.
There is one way of doing that, but so did you hear the Rishabh text? Yes.
Yeah, yes.
There are platforms. There is Tamo, Rajo, Sattva. So in the Sattva guna, you are supposed to keep your body clean, keep your clothes nice and clean, keep your expressions, dealings clean, right? In the Rajogun you are degrading, Tamogun again lower. But this stage we are talking about is the Shuddha Sattva. It's about the Sattva, where you are not at all worried or you are not at all concerned about the bodily functions of life. It cannot be imitated. You cannot imitate that. It comes by self-realization. Like, for example, we have a tradition of, in our body history, devotees like Jagannath Das Babaji, or Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj. Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj would chant outside of the toilet. You would say, why would you not go to temple and chant, right? He would sit outside of the toilet and chant so people would not disturb him. And he was so indifferent that he was so absorbed in the chanting of the holy name that for him temple was a place of where people leave their stool and urine was same. So that stage you become liberated from so-called. When you are conditioned, even in your sattva guna you are conditioned. But when you rise above sattva guna, then you become liberated. And that is the position of your heart. And many other. Okay? So Prabhupada ki